its role in growth, reproduction, and immune function, and the very important role selenium has in pregnancy. We're going to start heating up our pan so it's nice and hot. Then I have my almond teff wrap batter, and we're going to make wraps for some codfish that we're going to fry, and we're going to add those wraps with vegetables. And so I hope you stick around for this super easy, very, very delicious, filling, and energizing meal. And this is a meal that you can eat and go dance for 5 hours, go be outdoors for 5 hours, and not worry about getting hungry. Selenium plays key roles in growth, endocrine regulation, and the immune system. The main way that selenium plays a role in the body, and it has a large variety of biological functions in the body, functioning from here all the way down to your feet in almost every single system, and it does this by regulating oxidation in the body. Selenium, there's a wide range of selenium proteins, but one of the key proteins that functions in the body to prevent oxidative stress is glutathione peroxidase, and there are a number of different glutathione peroxidases in the body depending upon where they function and their roles. The RDA for selenium for a regular person is about 50 micrograms per day, and for pregnancy it's 60, and for lactation it's 70 micrograms per day. Now selenium is unique among other vitamins in that it follows a U-shaped response curve. What this means is it functions really well at a medium dosage, whereas too low or too high is going to be inhibitory to the body and can be damaging to the body. Selenium has been shown to be toxic at very high levels, around 1,000 micrograms per day range, or above 400 micrograms per day. So you don't really, if you're taking a supplement, you want to have a supplement around 100 micrograms per day, or perhaps 200 micrograms per day, but surpassing that upper level, you're going to have toxic effects in the body. And now, the research regarding this is not in regards to selenium in food. If you're consuming Brazil nuts and fish and other high selenium foods, sunflower seeds are a great source of selenium. If you're consuming these, now you don't have to be worried about exceeding your levels of toxicity if you go to a seafood crawl, a seafood boil, and you consume a lot of selenium that day. That's not an issue. The research is all related to the function, is all related to the supplemental form of selenium. This is synthetic and generally comes in a different form than that which is in food. But it is important in regards to supplementation, because after hearing this video you might be surprised about the wide ranges of selenium in the body and want to supplement. And it's especially surprising to me that the most recent recommendations by the American Dietetics Association and the US government do not include selenium in their recommendations. And I don't know the reason for that. I don't know if they're assuming that people are getting sufficient selenium so they don't need to recommend it the way they do a little bit with biotin. But selenium is not a ubiquitous nutrient, and in refute of that, it is in lower levels. In refute of the fact that maybe they're assuming that people are getting enough selenium, selenium is not a ubiquitous mineral. It's not in high quantities in a lot of foods. If you're not eating seafood, if you're not eating specific nuts like Brazil nuts or sunflower seeds, you're likely deficient. And the reason for this is that selenium originally comes from the soil, and foods uptook selenium as a mineral. It's sequestered in the soil. And the foods that you eat, say you eat a beet or a carrot or any other vegetable, such as cauliflower, these foods, when they grow, they're dependent upon the level of selenium in their food to make and bring in selenium into their plant bodies. So if the soil's depleted, like it is with modern agriculture, there's much lower levels of selenium in the soil currently. And that is another reason why I highly recommend people keep fish in their diet in small amounts and healthy, wild, mercury-free fish, almost everything you have to worry about nowadays, because of the high levels of selenium. And we're going to pour this crepe in here. You can see that. So selenium plays a wide role in the formation of the baby during pregnancy. One of the key ways it does this is by preventing oxidative stress. Now, high oxidative stress is very damaging to the fetus and the progression of pregnancy specifically. Now, selenium plays specific roles because selenium affects the levels of prostacyclin in the body. And while this crepe is cooking, I'm going to take some flour. I have some of my gluten-free flour mix. I usually like to use a little brown rice flour, and then I'm going to add some tapioca flour into that. And I'm just going to mix that together, and I'm going to use that to batter my fish. Now, selenium plays a role in prostacyclin synthesis because prostacyclin is synthesized in the endothelial cells. And so the endothelial cells are particularly susceptible to damage from oxidative stress because these are the cells lining the blood vessels. And if you think about it, you have your bloodstream and you have cells lining the blood vessels that are exposed to higher levels of oxygen than a cell that's not lining the bloodstream. And so it is very likely that these cells can be exposed to oxidative damage in the body. And so the endothelial cells are the cells responsible for producing prostacyclin. So you have these beautiful fish pieces, and I'm just going to dip them in the flour like this. And then when my oil gets hot, you can tell your oil's hot enough when it's shimmering. I'm going to fry them in the oil. Selenium prostacyclin has a wide range of roles in the body, and particularly during pregnancy and the progression of pregnancy. Now, if you don't have enough selenium, you can have delayed time to conception which is a marker of infertility or low fertility. It's not being infertile. You can get pregnant, but it's low fertility because if you're having sex regularly and you're not getting pregnant, usually there's a reason behind that, and one of the reasons can be having low levels of selenium in your body, because selenium protects the endothelial cells from producing prostacyclin, and you need prostacyclin for the follicle for it to develop and for it to implant. When you first have the fetus that's implanted, the egg that's fertilized is implanted, and you have to have the growth of lots of blood vessels, you have to have development of the placental membrane, you have to have development of the placenta, it needs to grow, and you have to have all these blood vessels that need to go and intercalculate with the egg to connect the egg to the uterine wall and the placental wall, the placenta. And the egg needs to be connected to that placenta, and then the placenta needs to be appropriately connected to the uterus, so that you can have proper blood flow and the nutrients can reach the baby. And now prostacyclin is responsible. It helps with the blood flow. It helps. So I got my oil splattering, and I'm going to add this in here. Now, if you don't have enough blood flow to your placenta, one of the main things that happens is you can have fetal growth restriction, your baby cannot grow as well, and you can end up with developmental delays. Therefore, having sufficient selenium results in sufficient levels of glutathione peroxidases, which protect the endothelial cells from oxidation so that they can have a healthy enough environment to produce sufficient prostacyclin. Now, prostacyclin production is very important through all stages of fetal development, not just the implantation stage. Prostacyclin helps regulate blood flow and nutrients to the fetus. And the state of pregnancy is particularly susceptible to oxidative stress. The pregnant woman, ow, God, damn! Okay, so you have enough prostacyclin, then you can have enough blood flow going to the fetus, and that's how nutrients reach the fetus. Prostacyclin also plays a role in the development and the protection, particularly the oxidative protection of trophoblast cells, which are very important for the initiation of pregnancy. Trophoblast cells are the first cells. Trophoblast cells are the outer cells that surround the blastocyst that forms. The blastocyst or the blastocoel is the first ball of cells for the fetus. The trophoblast cells are the first layer of the outer egg, and these trophoblast cells are responsible for making the placenta and for the development of the uterine arteries that are the arteries or the blood vessels that go to the fetus. So if you don't have these functioning very well, then you're going to have problems with throughout pregnancy because of the poor development of these blood vessels to the fetus because of the trophoblast cell damage. So prostacyclin is super important in that regard. I burned my hand too. As pregnancy progresses, we discussed that sufficient prostacyclin is responsible for reaching the blood flow and for the blood flow reaching the fetus at all. And a lot of times fetal growth restriction or preterm birth can be, or small birth size, small for gestational age, can occur simply because the nutrients are not reaching the baby. You could have sufficient nutrients, and this is why it's so important to set up your diet and do a detox before pregnancy, so that your body is set up and it has the right mechanisms for the healthiest initiation of pregnancy. And low selenium can also be a cause of male infertility. You know, originally it was always discussed as females being the problem for being infertile, but really a large percentage of infertility cases are due to poor fertility of the male. And again, relates to the preventing oxidative damage of the sperm, which are susceptible to oxidative stress. Now, selenium also plays other roles in the body in regards to preventing oxidative stress. That's perfect. And selenium plays a role in growth in the body in terms of growth. It plays a role in particularly in muscular growth. One of the few roles that selenium has is a selenoprotein N that's not related to oxidative stress or preventing the high oxidative environment of the cells and the body in general and other systems in the body. Is this selenoprotein plays a role in the development of these muscular cells. And this is true whether embryonic development, fetal development, or when you're older. For example, if you're trying to build muscle mass and get muscle weight on you as a bodybuilder or as a healthy, strong man, and you want to build up your muscle mass, and you go to a nutritionist. If you're talking to your sports nutritionist, you need to discuss all the nutrients really, but selenoprotein, if you're taking, for example, creatine, a lot of times that's just excreted when it's excess protein. There are other nutrients that are more important, such as example as selenium for creating these the skeletal muscle cells. Let's get this, turn that off the burner. Get my other fish here. And this is such an easy dish. It makes a little bit of a mess, but you're not chopping a whole bunch of stuff or cooking for long periods of time. It's an easily executed dish in the body. One of the key important roles of selenium in the body is in regards to the thyroid system. Now, your thyroid system is responsible for your metabolism, general energy metabolism, homeostasis, and selenium plays a role in the iodothyroninases that are responsible for the conversion of T4 to T3, which is the active thyroid hormone. So if you're having problems with your thyroid and you go see an endocrinologist, you really should ask perhaps about getting your selenium levels tested to see if that's the reason you have low thyroid function, not another innate problem with your thyroid gland. And that's why I think we've overlooked the most important role of healers or healing diseases and dysfunction in the body is the role of the nutritionist. And we're just looking at, we're using nutritionists just for things like diabetes or metabolic diseases where people are really, really out of balance and they have severe metabolic dysregulation, when really we should be looking at nutrients in a more holistic scale and with all of the dysfunctions in the body, such as endocrine dysfunction. You know, selenium also plays a role in pituitary function, hormone regulation, selenium plays a role in allowing sufficient testosterone production and keeping the cells in the growth environment for testosterone and other hormones healthy, primarily by maintaining low oxidative stress. The body is very sensitive to oxidative stress, and that's why you have so many nutrients, so many systems in place. There's a huge range of selenium proteins, GPX, DIO, thyroiodinases. All these proteins are called selenoproteins. They use selenium in their function, and it is required that you have selenium for their proper functioning. They're not going to work to their optimal levels. Another way that selenium plays key roles in the body is in regards to functioning of the immune system. Sorry, I was thinking, do I want to cut while this is cooking here and go over there, or are we going to have time? I think I want to watch this fish. It's cooking really fast. Is in function to their immune system. Now, the immune system cannot mount a proper response to invasions unless you have sufficient selenium. And this is in regards to all kinds of... I'm going to be loud in my bed there. Woo! The body is very sensitive to oxidative stress in regards to its immunity. And the immune system is going to be more susceptible to foreign invaders if you don't have enough selenium because of the oxidative stress and the damage to the cells and the lack of protection to the cells like the nuclear killer cells. And then I'm going to put this top on the fish. And I like to just, at the end, after the outside's got been fried, I like to turn the heat off so it continues cooking gently without excess heat, and so the fish protein don't coagulate and they stay soft. Ow, my arm burns! The most important way to keep your cast iron skillets is to not wash them, to just rinse them and then cook whatever stuck food is on them into the pan over the flame, and then you put oil after that's cooked off, let it get really hot, and then you want it to cool down again. If you don't follow these steps, you're going to have a sticky pan. You can also do that last step with stainless steel, where you heat up the stainless steel pan with some oil to really hot and then let it cool down again, and then it's primed to put oil in and cook and be non-stick. Dump these crumbs out, add more oil. Key to keeping a skillet non-sticky is to non-stick is to let it be a little bit dirty here. I'm gonna put that there. Regretfully, I'm using grapeseed oil because I'm all out of my other oils, and I normally never use grapeseed oil to cook. I just use coconut oil or ghee or olive oil, and I use the grapeseed oil for cleaning my skin and for curing my pans. Let's prepare the fillings that we're going to put into our sandwich and chop some potatoes to make some roast potatoes alongside this dish. Selenium plays a large role in the function of the immune system, and it's surprising to me we go to doctors expecting an antibiotic and we come home thinking, oh, I couldn't get an antibiotic because it's a viral infection. I have a cold, I have flu, I have COVID, can't do anything about it, just have to wait it through. Well, why isn't the doctor giving you a selenium supplement, a small dosage of it in the median range, in order to improve immune system function? Because research shows that when you don't have enough selenium, you have decreased macrophage function, decreased natural killer cell function, you have decreased activation of the natural killer cells, you have decreased cytokine activation, and all these factors play a role in the function of the immune system. And you will have a more virulent cold or flu and longer increased severity. So the virus is more virulent. Selenium and the antioxidant capacity of selenium proteins prevent oxidation of the cell, which slows viral replication. So if you have a cell under a lot of oxidative stress, the virus can actually make use of this and increase its speed of replication and become more virulent. That's how that works. I love to do a little cabbage on these rolls. I'm gonna slice some of these super ripe tomatillos from a home garden. And research shows that HIV infections can be interfered with and can be slowed down with sufficient selenium. And also the severity of COVID can be decreased by having sufficient selenium. So this is a really, really important nutrient in maintaining the immune system and maintaining the host defenses, keeping your defenses up against virulent factors which make use of a weak body. I think that a lot of the reason that we have illnesses and diseases is because our bodies are not strong and healthy. They're not at optimal function. I mean, I have an excellent diet and I still get sick. Well, why is that? I'm probably still deficient in certain nutrients that I don't need a lot of. Selenium for one. I used to eat Brazil nuts every day and I only took that back up again recently to help with some infections that I was having. Kept getting the little stomach flu. And that's why it's so important to consume enough selenium. You need to have sufficient antioxidant defense for your body to work. We live in an oxygen-rich environment, and oxygen causes oxidative stress on the body because it's a highly reactive molecule due to its valence state. It has 2 unpaired electrons in the outer shell, and this makes it very reactive. And the downside of needing to have oxygen is the effects that oxygen has on the body and causing oxidative stress. And the thyroid functioning is also very important for the immune system. If you don't have proper thyroid functioning, it's not just going to affect growth and development, such as muscle development, it's also going to affect the immune system, your daily energy levels, overall energy metabolism, how your immune system mounts a response to infections, and all these issues need selenium proteins. And selenoproteins in general, not only do they prevent oxidative stress, they also can be a heavy metal chelator. And heavy metals can cause damage to the body, cause increased inflammation, and cause increased oxidative stress. And I've been told by Flash it will also infect the liver. Selenoproteins are really important for the functioning of P53. P53 is a signal transduction molecule, and it's an overall genome regulator, and it protects the genome. Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. We'll talk about that in a minute, okay? I'm on one topic right now. Okay, yeah. And P53, it goes around and it's like the master genome protector. And when you have dysfunctions in the P53 cell signaling pathway, this a lot of times leads to cancer. P53 is indirectly protected by the antioxidant effects of selenoproteins so that it functions. And what P53 does is it prevents damaged DNA from being replicated over again. Now this is important at all times, but especially important during pregnancy to prevent damage to the early fetal cells that is going to proliferate throughout the lifetime of the child and the fetus. So we need sufficient amounts of that. Put a little red onion. Now, onion also provides sulfur groups which help with the formation of glutathione. This glutathione is formed, has specific sulfhydryl groups, and that comes from the food you eat, those sulfur compounds. And onions are high in sulfur compounds along with garlic. Oh, selenium also plays a role in protecting methionine. Now methionine is a key molecule also used for proper genomic regulation, proper epigenetic regulation, and encoding. And if you don't have sufficient methionine, you're going to have problems at the genome level and the epigenome level. Selenoproteins prevent oxidative stress to methionine, and this is important because with regards to methionine specifically, because methionine is an amino acid that is particularly sensitive to oxidative stress. Now normally methionine is generated from homocysteine. Homocysteine is a highly inflammatory molecule in the body, It's part of the Krebs cycle, or the TCA cycle, and it's just one of those amino acids that they all circle and become one or another thing, but specifically high levels of homocysteine can occur in the body when there's levels of inflammation. And why is this? Part of the reason is because when you have high levels of inflammation, methionine is getting oxidated, and normally methionine is turned into SAM or SAMe, and then it's recycled back to homocysteine, and then homocysteine is recycled back to methionine. Well, this can't happen if there's not sufficient methionine in its proper form that's not damaged by oxidative stress, which will then cause the body to just eliminate it because it's not useful and it's not generating methyl groups for epigenetic regulation and the formation of proper DNA structures and forms. Now, if you have damage to too high levels of homocysteine, the high levels of homocysteine then cause stress in the body, they cause inflammation, and high levels of homocysteine are related to cardiac disease, cardiovascular issues, general inflammatory problems or issues in the body. High levels of homocysteine are related to increased incidence of preeclampsia, and this is one reason why, again, enough selenium during pregnancy is vital, vital, vital. And in my upcoming book, if not already published, Staying Fed, a cooking manual for nutrition and lactation, which you can find in the link down below the video, I give everyone 2 Brazil nuts to eat a day in the dietary, well, it's in the dietary analysis, but that was the only way I could find, other than eating fish every day, which is not functional for pregnancy as well, to provide enough selenium for the body. And you can't eat fish every day because of the high mercury and contaminants in fish and PCBs and so on, heavy metals in the fish, even in small fish. And honestly, I love sardines, but I don't want to eat them every day either. But as easy solution, 2 Brazil nuts a day, you're getting enough selenium, you don't have the risk of toxicity from supplements, and that's part of the diet that's given, and the rest of the book gives you recipes to make 3 times a day, just like this recipe here. And it's very simple, they're simple recipes. I could execute this whole recipe start to finish in 10 minutes if I was not talking to you. They're all simple recipes designed to feed the woman, and what it does is it completes 100% of the RDAs for all the nutrients, and also I include selenium in my nutritional analysis, which is a huge Excel spreadsheet of the analysis of all the nutrients in each recipe per serving per day, and averaged out over a 5-day period, so the woman knows over a period of 5 days she's getting all her nutrients. And part of that is you eat 2 Brazil nuts a day to fulfill your selenium needs. And even though it's not currently an RDA, I include selenium, iodine, biotin, and choline, 4 nutrients that are crucial for pregnancy and lactation in my nutritional analysis, and you won't find that anywhere else. And I actually had to, for each recipe, do analysis twice, one with AI and one, well, they're both AIs, but separate from a specific program. I have a program that does recipe analysis, but I had to go and each recipe also add these 4 nutrients in, which essentially almost doubles my amount of work. We're gonna add some avocados to these, and I'm gonna get these and start making a beautiful one now. Okay, I'm gonna mix together a little sauce here, and I love to do like a chipotle chili peppers, chopped chipotle chili peppers mixed up with mayonnaise, but I actually am working on removing some heavy metals from my body, and I'm gonna use some what do you call this? Tamarindo. It's tamarindo, which was actually much easier to make than I thought it would be. You have to peel the tamarinds and then pour boiling water over it. I just left it overnight, and then I got my hands in there all dirty and squeezed the seeds out, and then I'm left with this lovely paste, which was super yummy as an instant sauce for my chickpeas last night. And I never imagined I didn't have to make a sauce or anything, and it turned a Buddha bowl of chickpeas and rice and fried zucchini, a 5-minute dinner from leftovers, into something spectacularly delicious just from the little effort I made of peeling these tamarindos. So I'm just going to do a little bit of that. Remember, selenium deficiency can affect you in your whole entire body, not just with respect to growth and metabolism. It also it can affect your bone metabolism. Mix this with some mayonnaise. This is gourmet. I wish you could get food as good as I make. In restaurants, I would eat out more. I'm always like, yeah, okay, you know, or I've got to pay $30 for a meal to get something even close to how I make it. And it's not hard. And now remember that selenium plays roles throughout the body. Mainly its roles as an antioxidant in maintaining the fidelity of the body, preventing oxidation, but with growth, endocrine regulation, and fertility. If you don't have enough selenium, you're going to have either miscarriage, delayed time to conception, intrauterine growth restriction where you have a small baby, the baby can't develop and get enough blood flow. You can have premature birth because the baby does not have enough prostacyclin, which is the relaxing hormone, which prevents you from going into contraction. So when the prostacyclin levels decrease, thromboxane increases. Thromboxane causes contractions. You want this to happen when you're at 29, 30, 31, 32 weeks. But before that, we do not want that to happen, because when you're born as a premature baby, like I was, your child will have lifetime problems. I have problems my entire life with my stomach, with allergies, with digesting food. Maybe that's why I'm here. Maybe I decided to be born on that date and have issues so it would inspire me to cook and to make these beautiful foods. Which one folds better? If you get it too thick, sometimes it can break, but this one's bigger. I'm gonna make this one beautiful. And so the stomach, for example, is the last place to develop. And when you have a preterm birth baby, they're likely going to have problems with digestion, immune system, brain function, because their gut is not functioning properly. I hope you check out my book, Staying Fed, the Pregnancy Manual for Lactation and Pregnancy. Even if you're not pregnant in lactation and you just want to have a healthy diet, there are amazing recipes and meal plans, and you can go through there. And as a woman struggling with some health problems, I found eating better was the best way to feel better, to have better brain function, to be more functional, to be happier. I am literally so happy all the time, even though my life is not necessarily happy all the time and very stressful. And I've had some very, very serious tragedies occur in my life. And despite this, I'm still able to maintain a positive outlook and generally feel happy on a day-to-day basis. Why? Because my gut is functioning right, and therefore my brain is functioning. I'm getting the proper hormone regulation. My thyroid is functioning right. My pituitary gland is functioning right. All these things are affected by the nutrients that you eat. And like with selenium, the baby will not have enough brown adipose tissue if you don't have enough selenium. And this is a key nutrient to keep the baby warm after birth. And it goes I could go on and on with the specific examples, but these are some of the main ways that selenium plays a role in keeping the body strong and healthy. And because of this, I think that it is a nutrient that we should pay more attention to. It's actually my favorite mineral. And yes, you can have a favorite mineral. I do. Because of, as you can see, its wide roles, and keeping the oxidative stress level down in your body is one of the key ways. I think it's one of the most instrumental ways to improve your health overall. There are other vitamins, say like thiamine or vitamin B6. Yes, they're very important. We need vitamins B6, for example, to regenerate, to metabolize homocysteine back into cysteine. And if you don't have enough B6, that's not going to happen. Your homocysteine levels are going to go up, can cause inflammation. But or thiamine, if you don't have enough thiamine, you're going to have lower levels of energy being produced. But a nutrient like thiamine, it's widespread, it's not ubiquitous throughout the body. You do not have many proteins like you have with selenium that are selenium proteins. You don't have thioproteins, for example. And it's just an example. All the nutrients are important, but I especially think that this is one, especially in regards to the role that selenium plays in the endocrine regulation. Okay, so I have my beautiful cod, and you can see that how using tapioca flour makes a beautiful batter, and it's so simple and easy, and it's gluten-free. I don't like to use gluten, not just because I'm sensitive to gluten, but also because it's high in pesticides, and there are so many other wonderful flours, like tapioca is actually anti-inflammatory. It has anti-inflammatory problems. Why eat wheat when you can eat an anti-inflammatory food, and that's not going to react with your immune system? Look at this, gorgeous gorgeous. Oh my God, I'm so ready to eat. I'm so hungry. And just remember that selenium is crucial for fertility, for your endocrine system, for regulating fertility, follicular genesis, development and implantation of the embryo, prostacyclin synthesis through its role in protecting endothelial cells throughout pregnancy, and initiation of the birth process. These are all very important. So pay attention to your selenium intake. Eat fish once or twice a week is sufficient, and you're gonna have a few Brazil nuts every day, and you're gonna get enough selenium. Fish is the highest selenium food, and all fish has selenium. Fish and shellfish alike, and they have much higher levels than Brazil nuts. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please support me by sending me hundreds of dollars. In lieu of sending me hundreds of dollars every week, you can press the subscribe or the like button for free. That'd be cool. Or if you're interested in more on these topics and would like in-depth recipes, complete with instructions, fun tips on everything from the topics that I just discussed with you to how to manage your kitchen, or how to clean your pans, or how to make recipes go further and turn one broth into 3 different recipes, check out my book, Staying Fed. Or if you're interested in more in-depth science, you can check out my book, Nourishing Generations, a nutrition manual for pregnancy and lactation, which covers the vitamins, the minerals, and the unclassified, such as choline and betaine and glycine. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Hi, my name's Flash. I told Carmen that all those killer cells can infect the liver, because unless they infect the liver, they can make holes in the liver and actually take an acid change, and then also infect the stomach acid. So that's what I said to Carmen, so she doesn't use that in the video.
Cool. Thank you, baby, for your help. Okay.
You forgot to turn the camera off.
I know, but that's just like spectacular. What's that Tamarindo? I've never done that before. Oh, that's so good. Oh.
A crate for me.
Yeah, you're gonna get one too. Let me make yours. Let me look at yours. Alright, let me see what you did. Burn my face off. It's too hot. All my burners. One's too hot, one's too cold. Wow. It's not funny. Whoa. Because methionine is an amino acid that is particularly sensitive to oxidative stress. Ooh, ooh. Burning onions! Oh, my eyes! Burning. I want to open this window, but then it's going to be noisy. It's like smog in here from the smoke from